Hey, welcome into the Husker247 Daily podcast, YouTube cast, whatever we want to call it. I'm Mike Schaefer, joined by Brian Christopherson. Bit of a tough news day here, and was a tough news night on Thursday night as well, with the news of the passing of Matt Vrzal, former Nebraska walk-on offensive lineman, a pizza purveyor here in Omaha, a media member over the last, I would say, decade when he first started kind of really filling in at 1620, Brian, and then the empire kind of expanded from there. He had various podcasts that he was doing, and I honestly think one of my favorite forms of consuming Matt Vrzal content was during the high school championships. Often Damon Benning would be gone because his team would be playing in a state title game, and so Versil would be on the call for Class A and the other classes throughout that day. And Brian, he just mixed good humor with just kind of football observation, and the kind of guy that you could find yourself in any sort of conversation with, just because he was that friendly and that easy to talk to.
Very friendly, very authentic. Some people are pretty guarded in things, and I think he let you know what he thought about anything, and I appreciate that in people. And so it was incredibly sad. And you have a great story connected to your wedding, right, with him?
Yeah. So I got married in 2021, and my wife and I, she's in Omaha, and we would often, in the infancy of dating, I was in Omaha a lot, and we'd be going out for dinner. And she loves pizza; like she could eat pizza every day, and she loved Pisons, and so we would go there a lot, and spend a lot of time hanging out at the bar with Verz while playing Keno, and I would be drinking banquets, and we just got to know him pretty well through that. And so when the time came to get married, we were having a discussion, as you do, about what your plans are for the wedding and the food and all of that. We knew we wanted some kind of late night food, and I don't know if it was Shelby or if it was myself, but we decided we were going to approach Verz to see, if he could deliver some pizza. And he was invited as a guest to the wedding, and so at the time he was attending. He ended up not attending because he got invited to be a counselor, and a coach at kind of a prestigious offensive line camp that was happening that same week. And he was pretty torn up about it, but I told him not even to think about it, just go do the camp. But so we talked to him about doing these pizzas, and I think I was like, yeah, let's get like 8 pizzas. It'll be the end of the night. There won't be that many people there. And he just, in typical Versil fashion, just looks at me, just kind of has a smirk on his face. It's like, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're doing. I'll take care of it. He wouldn't. I mean, I paid him something, but it was a pittance of the amount of pizza that he ended up bringing at the end of the night. And of course, like, somewhat hilarious to me is we have all this pizza and he brings more than what I had asked for, and I still didn't even end up with a slice of it because it was all gone. And that was Pison's pizza. People loved it. That was Verz. I mean, that's just kind of who he is. And even before that, as a wedding gift for Shelby and I, he was scouring the internet and finds this Coors Banquet mini fridge, and just decides, like, that's what he wants to get me as a wedding gift. And so I think it was on the campus at Northwest Missouri State, and one of his former offensive linemen was down there playing for the football team at Northwest Missouri State. And so he calls him up and he's like, hey, I just bought this online. I told him that you were going to come over to pick it up at 7:00 tonight. I don't know if you have anything going on, but you got to go get me this dorm fridge. I'll make it worth your while. Oh, can you bring it back to Omaha the next time you come back? So I go into Pisons, and I think I had just flown back into Omaha. It was March, and I'm walking into Pisons. There's like snow outside, and I sit down, and Ver's like, I got something for you. And Shelby's on her way, and I'm meeting her there. And he comes out of the back, and he's just hoisting this mini shoulder, walking through his busy Pisons room. It's a Friday night. I mean, there's a lot of people there, and they're all just kind of looking at him, but nobody's that surprised because it's just Verz. He's just doing Verz stuff. And he sets it down next to me. He's like, congrats on getting married. Hope Shelby likes your new fridge. And then just walks away. And as Shelby recalled to me last night when we were kind of reminiscing about him and our connection with him, She walks in and he cuts her off before she gets over to the table, and he's just like, "Hey, don't be mad. Got you guys. Might not be, your decor style, but you're gonna like it." And of course, we still have the mini fridge to this day. It's in our basement. Made the move from Lincoln to Omaha, but yeah, I mean that was Matt Vrzal. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel super super fortunate to have gotten to know him as well as I have.
Everybody should be so lucky to be the type of person that, like you said, just Versil, like when he walks in with it, like that you have that like identity, like you're just a
Yeah.
fun person. It's like, oh, that's him. And then no one even blinks at it. I don't think I knew him as well as you. I did a lot of radio bits with him when he was on 1620. And then we did some speaking events.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
you guys came and spoke together at
Yeah.
various stuff.
Yeah, we did a few times, and actually, it was an event. The first year, I did it by myself, and it was like nerd alert. Like it was just a guy reading a bunch of stats, and here's this backup left guard, and I just this monotone, I'm sure boring thing to this audience of very successful gentlemen like paying to hear information. So the next year, wisely, they brought in Vers along with me.
They bring a little color, a little pop.
Yeah, he did, and I might as well have not been there, which is fine. It was nerd alert whenever I talked, and then he was like, I just remember he had that toothpick in his mouth, and he was like spinning it and just saying, giving them the straight facts, I guess you would say, on some guys where how I am. I kind of like don't want to throw anyone under the bus. Like, we'll see how he develops in the next year or two. Versil will just say that this kid ain't gonna play, or this kid is gonna play, or whatever. And they loved it, of course. That's what they really wanted to hear. And just the way that, like, this was a room of people that were had done well for themselves, I would say, in whatever their professional livelihoods were. But Versil like controlled the room. You know what I mean? Like he was like the alpha dog in the room, and like everybody wanted to buddy up to him and ask him stuff. And I was more than happy to sit and just listen to him tell stories. He was just a fascinating guy. Also, he was a 2-time national champion at Nebraska. When he played here, he was on the 94, 95 teams, senior in 96 out of Grand Island High School, I believe. And he was a backup, but not a bad people to back up. Of course, he was behind the greatest offensive lines that have ever played at Nebraska. So he was like behind Aaron Graham, and as a senior, Aaron Taylor was in front of him. Like, but so I mean, that's no shame in that. So he was a champion and knew what it took to be a champion, and was very proud of the Huskers, but also told it like it was regarding the Huskers.
Perfection on purpose was the motto for Pisons, which is something he lifted from his time playing at Nebraska, playing for Tom Osborne, where they strived for perfection and they found it in multiple of the seasons of which he played for the team. I mean, he carried that, and that was an ethos of which he sort of lived by. I mean, I think one of the remarkable things about him is that we all have these sort of stories because he made everybody feel like they had their own connection to him. Like that was just sort of his special sauce, if you would.
Yep, definitely. I remember the first time I walked in at our event, he said, like, "How are we going to do this, boss?" And it just it was like lines like that kind of came to my mind last night. So deeply saddened to hear the news. Gone far too early. And he's just going to be missed by us and by fans who I think just appreciated his no nonsense style, but also, as you say, like just the generosity, the kindness he had attached with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just a unique, one of a kind guy, and we're all fortunate to have been able to spend that time around him. And I know I'm going to miss the phone calls when he would have attended practice and be like, "Hey, Mike, you don't have to write about this guy anymore. You don't have to mention him. You don't worry about him." I mean, the amount of recruits that he would call me up and be like, "I don't know why they're taking this guy. I guess they need somebody on practice squad when he's a senior." And so I mean, that was who he was. Blunt. I wouldn't even say to a fault. It was just a part of his personality and his character, and you just kind of knew it going in. I mean, so it's a tough day, but I appreciate being able to reminisce and go through the many memories and all of it. Just a genuine character, and not enough of those in society, unfortunately. Well, a little bit of a downer here to kind of end the bye week, but we just wanted to make sure we had the opportunity to kind of talk about our friend Vers and let people a little bit on the inside of what it was like to kind of have a relationship with them, and in my case and your case as well, a friendship that extended just beyond media obligations or even just Nebraska football. So wanted to discuss that here this morning. If you want actual football content, we can get that for you too at Husker247.com. So be sure to check out what we have going on. We have plenty of coverage of stuff as we get out of this bye week. Nebraska takes on Michigan State next weekend. It's a big weekend, Brian. Real quickly, I know we're running a little long. What Big Ten game are you kind of most excited about this weekend when you're putting your eyes on the TV and watching a little college football? Is
Really,
it that Penn State, Oregon? Is that the one?
Yeah, I mean that's the headliner, but really there's some games sort of, maybe it's because Nebraska's fighting to be in that upper middle, but I like Illinois USC almost interests me just as much. Like if Indiana can come off a win like that and go to Iowa, which I think is going to give them a tougher game, that one intrigues me. So there's like there's 6 Big Ten games and like 4 of them are pretty good. Oregon Oregon Penn State is a headliner because I don't think Penn State's played up to the standard people thought they would be at this year so far. So it's interesting if they raise the bar here for this game or not.
Yeah, no, I mean I thought Penn State would look a little bit better to this point than they have, but it's a big opportunity, and as we know, going into State College, it's a tough place to win, and so we'll see if Oregon is able to make that trip. We'll see if Oregon fans are even able to find their way to State College. I imagine this is a first trip in a while, and it played out west for most of the time for Oregon. It's pretty easy flights to get to a lot of these places. You don't have to figure out where Harrisburg, Pennsylvania is on a map or fly to Baltimore or Pittsburgh to get there. So maybe that'll have some effect for him as well. But we'll be back next week with more Husker 247 Daily. And, of course, we'll have plenty of coverage over the weekend at Husker247.com.